Imagine hearing the desperate cries of a puppy echoing from deep underground, but you can't see where it's coming from. That's exactly what happened to construction worker Mike Chen when he heard faint barking coming from a storm drain in Phoenix, Arizona. What he discovered 40 feet below ground would test every limit of human determination and engineering creativity. This tiny German Shepherd puppy had been trapped for 3 days in a pipe so narrow that traditional rescue equipment couldn't reach him. But what happened next proves that sometimes the most impossible situations lead to the most extraordinary miracles. This is the incredible true story that brought an entire community together and restored our faith in never giving up. Mike Chen was just trying to finish his shift when he heard it, a sound that would haunt him if he chose to ignore it. As a construction foreman for Phoenix Public Works, Mike had spent 15 years working on the city's infrastructure, but he'd never heard anything quite like this. It was 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday in October, and his crew was wrapping up routine maintenance on a storm drainage system in the Arcadia neighborhood. The faint barking seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once, echoing through the underground network of pipes that snaked beneath the suburban streets. At first, Mike thought it might be a dog playing in someone's backyard nearby, but as he listened more carefully, the sound had a desperate quality that made his stomach turn. "You guys hear that?" Mike called to his team, who were loading equipment into their trucks. His crew stopped and listened. The barking was definitely there, weak, intermittent, but persistent. It seemed to be coming from directly beneath their feet, somewhere deep in the storm drain system they'd been working on. Mike grabbed a flashlight and approached the nearest access point, a narrow opening barely 2 feet in diameter that led into the main drainage pipe. The barking grew slightly louder as he got closer, confirming his worst fear. Somewhere in this maze of underground tunnels, an animal was trapped. "Call animal control," Mike told his teammate Rodriguez, "and get me a rope. I'm going to take a look." But as Mike peered into the access hole, he realized this wasn't going to be a simple rescue. The storm drain system in this part of Phoenix was designed to handle flash floods from the surrounding mountains. The pipes descended at steep angles, branching into smaller and smaller tributaries as they carried water away from residential areas. Using his industrial flashlight, Mike could see about 20 feet down the main pipe before it curved out of sight. The barking was definitely coming from somewhere beyond that curve, deeper in the system. He tried calling down the pipe and was rewarded with an immediate response: frantic, high-pitched barking that sounded like a young dog. Animal control arrived 30 minutes later, led by Officer Sarah Martinez, a veteran with 12 years of experience in urban animal rescue. But after assessing the situation, her face grew grim. "This system goes down at least 40 feet in some places," Officer Martinez explained to Mike. "And these pipes narrow from 2 feet to just 8 inches in diameter as they branch out. If a small animal fell in and got carried by water flow during the last storm 3 days ago, it could be anywhere in this network." Mike's heart sank. 3 days. That meant whatever was down there had been trapped since Sunday night's flash flood. The kind of sudden violent water surge that could carry a small animal deep into the drainage system before depositing it in one of the narrow side pipes when the water receded. They spent the next hour trying different access points, following the sound as best they could. At each location, the barking seemed to come from a slightly different direction, making it impossible to pinpoint exactly where the animal was trapped. As darkness fell and the temperature dropped into the 50s, Mike made a decision that would change everything. Instead of giving up and hoping for the best, he called his brother Danny, a professional cave rescue specialist who lived just across town in Tempe. "I need someone who knows how to navigate tight underground spaces." Mike told Sarah Martinez, "Because I'm not leaving here until we find that dog." Neither of them knew it yet, but they were about to embark on a rescue mission that would push the limits of both human ingenuity and community cooperation. Danny Chen arrived at 9 p.m. with equipment that looked like it belonged on a space mission. As a certified cave rescue technician, he'd spent years navigating the limestone caverns and slot canyons throughout Arizona, but he'd never attempted an underground animal rescue in an urban storm drain system. "The good news is that these pipes are engineered and predictable," Danny explained as he unpacked his gear. "The bad news is that they're designed to move water fast, which means lots of steep drops and narrow constrictions. Using city engineering diagrams that Mike had requisitioned from the Public Works Department, they mapped out the most likely path the puppy could have taken during Sunday's flood. The storm had dumped 2 inches of rain in less than an hour, enough to create a rushing torrent that would have carried a small animal through the main arteries before depositing it in one of the smaller side pipes. When the water receded, Danny lowered himself into the main access pipe, equipped with a waterproof headlamp, two-way radio, and a fiber optic camera system normally used to inspect sewer lines. The plan was simple. Follow the sound and use the camera to search areas too narrow for human access. I can hear him clearly now. Danny's voice crackled through the radio after he'd descended 20 feet. Definitely a young dog, maybe 3 or 4 months old. He sounds weak but responsive. Mike and Officer Martinez tracked Danny's progress from above, moving from access point to access point as he navigated the underground maze. The puppy's barking grew stronger whenever Danny got closer, helping guide him through the branching network of pipes. But 30 minutes into the search, they hit their first major obstacle. The pipe Danny was following narrowed from 18 inches to just 10 inches in diameter. Too small for him to continue, but clearly the direction the barking was coming from. "I'm going to use the camera," Danny radioed. "Stand by." The fiber optic camera was designed to snake through pipes and send back real-time video. As Danny fed the flexible cable into the narrow passage, everyone held their breath. The camera traveled 5 feet, then 10, then 15 feet into the constricted pipe. "I've got him," Danny's excited voice echoed from below. "It's a German Shepherd puppy, maybe 12 weeks old. He's alive, alert." And Danny paused, his voice catching with emotion. "He's wagging his tail. He knows we're here." Through the camera, they could see the puppy clearly. He was trapped in a section where the 8-inch pipe made a sharp 90-degree turn, creating a pocket where debris had collected during the flood. The puppy had enough room to sit up but couldn't turn around, and the tight confines prevented him from backing out the way he'd come in. "How's his condition?" Officer Martinez asked. "Dehydrated, definitely scared, but he's moving normally and his eyes are bright. This little guy is a fighter." The relief was overwhelming, but it was quickly replaced by a sobering realization. They had found the puppy, but getting him out was going to be nearly impossible. The camera cable was only 3 millimeters wide, far too small to attach any kind of rescue device, and the pipe was too narrow for human access. Traditional animal rescue equipment was designed for accessible locations, not for puppies trapped in 8-inch pipes 40 feet underground. They needed something completely different, something that had probably never been attempted before. As they regrouped at street level, a small crowd had gathered. Word was spreading through the neighborhood about the underground rescue mission, and residents were starting to offer help. Among them was Dr. Angela Foster, a veterinarian who lived just 2 blocks away and had heard about the situation on her police scanner. "We need to think outside the box, Doctor," Foster said after hearing the situation. "This puppy won't survive much longer without water, and we can't get conventional equipment down there." That's when Mike had an idea that was either brilliant or completely crazy. "What if we don't bring the puppy up to us?" Mike said, his eyes lighting up with sudden inspiration. "What if we bring rescue equipment down to him?" The idea was audacious. Design a custom rescue device that could navigate the narrow twisting path to reach the trapped puppy, but it would require engineering skills, specialized materials, and perfect execution with no room for error. Danny immediately understood what his brother was thinking. A remote-controlled rescue sled. Something small enough to fit through the 8-inch pipe, but strong enough to carry the puppy back. Dr. Foster nodded enthusiastically. "If we can get water and nutrition to him first, he'll have strength for the rescue. But we need to move fast. He's been without water for 3 days." Within an hour, an incredible team had assembled in the Arcadia neighborhood. Mike had called his friend Tony Reeves, a robotics engineer who worked for a local aerospace company. Danny contacted his cave rescue team for specialized equipment. Dr. Foster brought medical supplies specifically designed for small animal emergencies. But the real game changer came from an unexpected source. 11-year-old Emma Martinez, Officer Martinez's daughter, who had arrived with her mother and overheard the entire conversation. "Why don't you use my drone?" Emma suggested, innocently. "It's really small and has a camera, and I can control it with my phone." The adults looked at each other in amazement. Emma's racing drone was compact, lightweight, and equipped with a high-definition camera and LED lights. More importantly, it was designed to navigate tight spaces at high speed. Tony Reeves examined the drone with growing excitement. This could actually work. We modify it to carry a water supply and nutrition paste, make the first trip to assess his exact condition, then retrofit it for extraction. The next 3 hours turned the quiet suburban street into an impromptu engineering workshop. Tony and Danny worked together to modify Emma's drone, adding a small water reservoir and extending the camera system. Dr. Foster prepared a high-energy nutrition paste that could give the puppy strength for the rescue attempt. Meanwhile, Mike coordinated with the city to shut down water flow to the entire storm drain system, ensuring that no sudden surge could endanger either the puppy or the rescue equipment. The first drone mission launched at 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. Using Emma's smartphone controller, Danny guided the modified aircraft through the main pipe, down the branching passages, and finally into the narrow 8-inch section where the puppy waited. "Contact," Danny announced as the drone's camera revealed the trapped German Shepherd. Up close, they could see he was a beautiful black and tan puppy with intelligent brown eyes that followed the drone's lights with curiosity rather than fear. The water delivery system worked perfectly. Through the drone's camera, they watched as the puppy eagerly lapped up the life-saving liquid, his tail wagging weakly but persistently. The nutrition paste was equally successful, giving him energy that was visible almost immediately. "His color is better, his eyes are brighter, and he's more alert," Dr. Foster observed through the video feed. "One more supply run, and he should be strong enough for extraction." But the extraction itself remained the biggest challenge. The drone could carry supplies to the puppy, but it couldn't carry a 12-petabyte dog back through 40 feet of narrow, twisting pipe. That's when Tony Reeves proposed the most ambitious plan yet. Instead of trying to carry the puppy, they would build a miniature rail system that could guide him safely back through the pipes using his own movement. It was an idea so innovative that no one was sure it would work. But with the puppy now stable and responsive, they had bought themselves the time needed to attempt something truly extraordinary. The miniature rail system was unlike anything that had ever been attempted in animal rescue. Tony Reeves had spent his career designing guidance systems for spacecraft, but this project required him to think on a completely different scale. "We're essentially building a subway for a puppy," Tony explained to the growing crowd of volunteers. "Flexible guide rails that can navigate the pipe bends with a platform that moves along them using the puppy's own weight and movement." The concept was ingenious in its simplicity. Instead of trying to pull or push the puppy through the complex pipe system, they would create a guided pathway that would allow him to essentially slide home under his own power. Working through the night, Tony and Danny fabricated the system using lightweight aluminum tubing, aircraft cable, and a series of small pulleys. The rescue sled was a padded platform, just large enough for the puppy, designed to move smoothly along the guide rails. Dr. Foster's role was equally critical. She had to ensure that the puppy would be calm and cooperative enough to stay on the platform during the journey. Using the drone delivery system, she began introducing the puppy to the concept gradually. "We're going to train him," Dr. Foster explained. "Small steps, positive reinforcement, building his confidence in the system." The first training session involved simply getting the puppy comfortable with the rescue sled platform. Using the drone, they lowered a small section of the padded platform into his confined space, along with treats and encouraging sounds played through a tiny speaker. The puppy's response was remarkable. Despite his ordeal, his natural intelligence and German Shepherd instincts were intact. He investigated the platform curiously, eventually stepping onto it when he realized it was stable and comfortable. "He's incredibly smart," Danny observed through their camera feed. "Look how quickly he figured out that the platform is safe." Over the next several hours, they gradually introduced more elements of the rescue system. The guide rails were installed in sections, creating a pathway that the puppy could see and understand. Each component was introduced slowly with plenty of positive reinforcement. But the real test came when they attempted the first practice run, a short journey of CA's 5 feet along the guide rails within his confined space. The puppy needed to learn to ride the platform as it moved, maintaining his balance and staying calm during the motion. "Come on, buddy," Danny encouraged through the speaker system as they initiated the first test movement. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. The puppy not only stayed on the platform, but seemed to understand that this was his way home. His tail wagging increased, and he even barked once, not in distress, but in what sounded like excitement. Emma Martinez, whose drone had made everything possible, was the first to spot the crucial detail that would make the rescue work. "Look at his position," she said, pointing to the monitor. "He's naturally balancing himself like he's been riding platforms his whole life. German Shepherds are really smart. He knows this is how he gets out." By 8 a.m. Wednesday morning, the full rescue system was in place. The guide rails extended from the puppy's location all the way back through the maze of pipes to the main access point. The rescue sled was positioned and ready. Most importantly, the puppy had demonstrated that he understood and trusted the system. Dr. Foster made the final medical assessment through the drone camera. His hydration is good, his energy level is strong, and his stress indicators are actually lower than they were yesterday. He's ready. The crowd that had gathered overnight now included local news crews, city officials, and dozens of neighbors who had stayed up all night following the rescue progress. But as they prepared for the final extraction attempt, everyone understood that despite all the planning and preparation, the next 30 minutes would determine whether their miraculous engineering feat would actually save this brave little puppy's life. The countdown to the most unconventional animal rescue in Phoenix history was about to begin. At 8:47 a.m. on Wednesday morning, with dozens of people holding their breath above ground, the Great German Shepherd Puppy Underground Railway began its maiden and most important voyage. Danny Chen was positioned at the main access point, monitoring the guide rail system and maintaining radio contact with the surface team. Tony Reeves tracked the mechanical systems through multiple sensors. Dr. Foster watched the puppy's condition through the drone camera, ready to abort if she saw any signs of distress. Initiating rescue sequence, Danny announced into his radio. The beauty of their system became apparent immediately. Rather than forcing the puppy through a frightening journey, the guide rails and platform created a smooth, controlled experience that allowed him to remain calm and confident throughout the process. The puppy seemed to understand that something important was happening. As the platform began its gentle movement along the rails, he positioned himself perfectly, his natural balance and intelligence working in harmony with the rescue system. 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet. Danny called out progress reports as the platform navigated the first section of pipe. He's riding like a pro. Tail is wagging. Posture is good. The most challenging part came at the pipe junction where the 8-inch section connected to the larger 18-inch main line. The engineers had designed a transition system, but no one knew if it would work smoothly enough to avoid frightening the puppy. Approaching transition point, Danny reported, "Platform is moving perfectly," and he's through. "We're in the main pipe system now." Above ground, the crowd erupted in quiet cheers, careful not to make noise that might distract the rescue team below. The journey through the main pipe took 12 minutes. 12 minutes that felt like hours to everyone involved. But the puppy never wavered. His trust in the system and his natural courage carried him steadily toward freedom. "I can see his headlamp reflection," Danny finally announced, his voice thick with emotion. "He's almost here." And then at exactly 9:03 a.m., a small black and tan head appeared at the access point, riding proudly on his custom rescue platform, like he'd been doing it his whole life. The puppy's emergence into daylight was met with careful silence until Danny could safely lift him from the platform. But the moment the German Shepherd puppy was secure in Danny's arms, the neighborhood erupted in celebration. Dr. Foster's immediate medical examination revealed what everyone had hoped. Despite his 3-day underground ordeal, the puppy was healthy, strong, and amazingly resilient. He was dehydrated and underweight, but his vital signs were good, and his spirit was unbroken. "He's going to make a full recovery," Dr. Foster announced to the cheering crowd. But the real miracle wasn't just the successful rescue, it was what happened next. The puppy, who had no identification and appeared to be a stray, had captured the hearts of everyone involved in his rescue. Mike and his wife decided to adopt him that same day, naming him Phoenix in honor of both his city and his incredible resurrection from the underground. Emma Martinez became his official dog walker and best friend. Tony Reeves documented the entire rescue system for publication in engineering journals, hoping it might help other animals in similar situations. The story of Phoenix's rescue made national news not just because of the innovative engineering solution, but because it demonstrated the extraordinary things that happen when a community comes together to save a life. 6 months later, Phoenix had grown into a magnificent young German shepherd, healthy, happy, and completely untraumatized by his underground adventure. He still got excited whenever he saw drainage pipes, as if remembering the amazing journey that brought him home. Phoenix's incredible rescue story proves that no challenge is too great when people come together with creativity, determination, and heart. What started as one construction worker refusing to ignore a cry for help became a community-wide engineering miracle that saved a life and restored our faith in human ingenuity. This rescue only succeeded because each person contributed their unique skills. From Mike's determination to Emma's drone, from Tony's engineering expertise to Dr. Foster's medical knowledge. It's a powerful reminder that the most extraordinary solutions often come from the most unexpected collaboration. If this story inspired you, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more incredible true stories of animal rescue and human heroism. Share this video with someone who believes in the power of never giving up, because Phoenix's story proves that miracles happen when people refuse to walk away from those who need help. And tell us in the comments, have you ever been part of a community rescue effort? What's the most creative solution you've seen to solve an impossible problem? We'd love to hear your stories of people coming together to make the impossible possible. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most extraordinary adventures begin with simply listening to someone in need and deciding to. For next part, stay with us.